And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Today I'm not doing a review of a game, and I don't even have a box to show you. I'm doing a preview of a game. But this isn't a paid preview because I'm doing this for free for myself. The game I'm going to show you in just a moment is Capo. At least that's our working title for now. Capo was designed by me and Steve Avery. Steve Avery is someone I met several years ago, and we found that we have very similar taste in board games. He has worked on a lot of development of a lot of games that are actually published today, and I like games. So we went together and we worked on this game. I had an insight one day of an idea for a game, which we kind of cribbed from Kremlin, although our game I think is quite a bit different than Kremlin at this point. And Steve and I have worked jointly on this. We both put in about as much work. So what I'm going to show you is just a quick how to play the game. And of course, you got to remember all these components I'm showing you, artwork and all that stuff. That's all prototype, and it's nothing like what the final product will look like. So let's take a look at it, and I'll show you how it plays. Here's the game board for Capo, and you can see that you have a mafia structure here. At the top, we have the Don, the Capo. And underneath him we have the counselor, and we have the underboss, and we have the enforcer, and we have the racketeer, and we have the bean counter, and we have the first guy, the second guy, the third guy, and then 3 associates. Now these associates aren't worth anything right now. They're trying to get into these positions. But we have different positions of people out here. Now none of these are actually under the control of players at the beginning of the game. These guys are just in these positions. But each player in the game is 3 to 6 player will have influence tokens of their type. And it's their goal to try and control these guys so that they can get respect. We have another little board nearby where we keep track of respect. Whoever has the most respect at the end of the game is the winner. Now, at the beginning we put out these different characters, and each of these characters you can see has a different color / symbol, which shows what family they're from. Sometimes they're from multiple families, like this guy here is from the red and the yellow family. And then each of these gentlemen also has a certain number of respect. This guy actually has negative respect, and a certain amount of money, and possibly a special ability. When they go into a specific position on the board, you can see that this guy here now, he has -2 respect. -2 plus 0 is -2, but he'll get you $4 from that position, 2 and 2. While up here, you can see that this guy here has 2 times 2, so he gets 4 respect and $4. And usually the higher position you're in, like here, this Capo, he's going to get $7 and 7 respect. So players will want control of these people, and the way a game round takes. And right now we have the game set at 6 rounds. You can play longer for a long game, or shorter for a shorter game, but 6 rounds. At the beginning of each round, each player in the game can take 1 influence and put it on any character they want. So you can put it on the Capo, you can put it on the character that someone else has, that's fine. Then, players can take turns, and they're going to have influence cards in their hands, and they can play these cards. You can play the card, this one lets you put 2 influence on any green gangster and 1 influence on a red gangster. This lets you put 2 on any gangster. This lets you put 3 on the counselor position. This lets you put 4 on a blue gangster, although it says after placing you have to allow someone else to place 2 influence on any gangster. So these cards can be played to play influence. Any card can be played basically upside down to put 1 influence on anybody. Okay, but usually you'll want to do what the card says because that's usually a better choice. And some cards will say or underneath them. This card can be discarded to allow other players to pay you $4 for an influence card. Or this lets you move all the influence from one player from one gangster to another. And some cards have other requirements, like this one here can be played at any time. But during the beginning round of the game, and we keep track of our rounds over here on the side, so we can see that the first round of the game here is we're placing influence. And then we play influence cards. And when we place influence and we play these influence cards, everyone can play 1 card in turn order. And then after that, you can continue playing cards. However, at any time when you play a card, you can pay a certain amount of money to the bank as you play that card. So let's say I pay $4 as I play this card. Everyone else now cannot play a card unless they play or exceed $4. So the next guy must say, I want to play a card. So he puts a card down and pays $5. So then everyone has to pay $5. So if you have a lot of money, you can stop people from playing more than 1 influence card per turn. After all the influence has been placed on the board and people get influence on the different characters, someone is usually bound to be controlling the capo, by the way, at any turn, and that person has the capo marker. That person, and that can change any time, and this can be passed around, but the capo position is important because that person resolves ties. So if, for example, blue and red both have one influence on this guy, the guy who's the capo decides which of those people. Of course, bribing him and making some sort of deal will likely have an effect on that. So after we're done with that, though, we go to the second phase in which we resolve each gangster in order, starting with the third guy. He's number 1. The player who controls him is going to get respect and money equal to that, and then they have a few things that they can do. They can use the positional power. The third guy can always pay $10 to whack another person on the board. So you can pay $10 to attempt to kill somebody else on the board. Or if they have a power on the card, and not every gangster does, this guy draws 2 influence cards, but he has to give 1 away. You can pick either one of those special abilities and use it. And then the third thing this person can do is they can try to make a move on someone else and move and switch to that person's position. Now, I should mention whacking because this guy can do it, and other people like this evil Tom Vasel guy can whack someone for $7. When you do that, it's simple. You pick someone on the board, you roll a die, and as long as you don't roll this dagger, you kill them. Hooray, and they're dead. If you roll the dagger, though, then you've been caught and you're killed. Now, it does cost 10 more to kill the capo. He's more difficult to kill. But yes, you can kill people. When you make a move, it's a little bit different, depending on where on the board you're moving to. If you're moving into these bottom 2 rows, not so hard. To make a move on that, you roll, and as long as you roll machine gun, you're fine. If you roll a hat, you fail, nothing happens. And if you roll a dagger, you're killed. If you're fine, let's say you're the third guy making a move on the racketeer position, then you switch spots, and you're going to gain respect equal to the new position that you just moved into. And you took over, likely, a better position. Moving into the upper ones is harder. You need to get a hat to succeed rather than the gun, which is only on 2 sides of the dice. And to get into the capo, you need a knife to succeed. Of course, you can re-roll the die by paying $10. So there's always that. And so each of these guys has a special ability. The second guy can remove an influence marker off the board. The first guy can play a negate token on somebody else and cancel their respect and money, or he can cancel their special power. The bean counter can steal $3 from any other player. The racketeer can switch 2 influence markers on the board. The enforcer lets you put out an extra influence marker. The underboss lets you get a control card. The counselor lets you add 3 neutral influence to the board. And you're like, why would you do that? You'll see why. It's a big deal. And the capo doesn't have any special power per se, although he breaks ties, and that's a really big deal. After you do that, everyone's going to draw another influence card, and they can spend money to buy more influence cards, to buy respect, to remove blackmail tokens. What? Yeah, because some of the cards let you put a blackmail token on somebody. So let's say, for example, that on the third guy, the blue player has 3 influence on him. But the purple player plays a blackmail token on him with 1 purple black influence. Well, blue is still winning, so blue gets the respect and influence, and then blue can make a move or use a special power as long as the purple player allows him to. The purple player can stop him from making a move or using a special action, so the blue player has to get the purple player's permission because he has blackmail on him. There's ways to get rid of blackmail. I mean, if we ever remove this influence, the blackmail token disappears. But, that can be a pain in the neck. So, after that happens, then we have the feds. What happens in the feds is, if anybody at any time has 10 or more influence during the fed phase. So let's say there's 3 blues, 2 purples, and we added those 3 whites, and then black also has a couple influence. We look and we say, oh, that's 10 influence. At that point, this guy's attracted enough attention that the police take him away and all the influence goes back to the players. And that guy goes off to prison. And so, no one is ever going to completely control someone. You might put influence on someone, not because you think you can take them over, but to push them over the edge and have the police come and arrest them. People are also killed, they're swimming with the fishes, by being shot and such. So after this happens, after the feds come and arrest people and people have been killed, there's different spots on the board that will be open. If the capo position's open, then the highest position is going to fill a spot. For example, the counselor. But if the counselor is dead, then the underboss. If the underboss is dead, then the bean counter, etc. If one of these positions is empty, we start and fill them from highest to lowest. So we would fill over here, the Racketeer first, and it just tells you right on the spot who picks him. So the player who controls the counselor, in this point Black picks who goes into the counselor position, and he can pick the second guy or the third guy, or he can even slide over the bean counter. So he gets to pick one of those guys to move into position. Of course, that means that position is open, and then that position is going to be filled later on. And at the bottom, those can be filled by these very willing people from the associate deck. And then after that happens, we start another round with players placing influence. And you will be amazed, I think, at how much things change, and a round can be pretty involved because players will go back and forth and negotiate with one another. At the end of 6 rounds, whoever has the most respect is the winner. I didn't say all the rules there, and not all the rules are even set in stone. We're still tweaking things, we're still tweaking the cards a little bit, but I'm really happy with how the game plays. Look, I really like playing it. You say, of course, you designed it. Yeah, but I mean, I like different games, and this one I like because there's a lot of negotiation. It's a very direct, confrontational game. This is no peaceful game. You'll be making deals. Someone will pull into the lead. They can pull the lead pretty far, and all the other players will work hard to bring that person down, and things can change very quickly. Assassinations, making moves and cards. To me, it's just a lot of fun. So what we're doing at this point is, if you're watching this video, if you're interested in playtesting this, simply email me at tomvasel@gmail.com, and I can add you to a Dropbox folder where you can look at the rules and download the files and print it out and play it yourself. You'll have to provide some of the components yourself, you know, a die and the whatever you use for money and control markers. But if you want to try it out, and that would be great. Anyone who helps us playtest it and gives us feedback, we'll mention you in the rule book. The second is, hey, you might be a publisher and be interested in publishing this game. So get in touch with me. You know how to find me. And we might kickstart it in the future if we don't find a publisher. But I think this is a game that's worthy of playing. And it's certainly not going to be to everyone's taste. If you don't like confrontation, this is not for you. But if you like in-your-face, back-and-forth negotiation, if you like Kremlin, if you like games where, you know, there's that constant back and forth, it is kind of an area control game too. I don't know. I really like it a lot. And so I hope you like it too, and I hope that I can talk about this in the future, talking about it being a published game. I'm very excited about it. Capo.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at dicetower.com. You can also find the latest board game news at dicetowernews.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Fun Again Games, the world's best game source. Fun Again Games has over 5,000 games available. Check them out at funagain.com.